My glasses are dirty, and I've had too many Valentine sweets. Hey guys, happy Valentine's Day again. For those of you who are celebrating throughout the weekend and not just on one day. Or Galentine's, I saw that somewhere too. I know the girls are going out and they're having a good time as well. So, yes, for whomever and to whomever, happy Valentine's Day. And I hope you show yourself love and your friends and your family and all the people who care about you. And I don't know. Yeah, show love. Just show love. How about that? Show love. Lots of it. It doesn't have to be a romantic thing. It can be a friend thing. It could be a community thing. It could be a society thing. Just show love, right? Spend the time showing love this weekend if you can. Um, mm. um, so you know how these go. I ramble on about something. What am I going to ramble on about? God only knows. It'll come to mind. But actually, I'm sure that you noticed I changed from milk to water, right? I was watching, okay, one of my relatives is all in on these AI YouTube videos. I don't know why, but they are. One of the videos was talking about how if you're eating or drinking anything that's like with sugar in it, right? Which is like almost everything, right? Because it's like carbohydrates or protein, all of which are sugars, right? That it could create like a blood pressure or insulin spike or something when you're sleeping or whatever, or like cause your heart to race or something like that. Because I don't know, I was like, you know what, you be trying to go to sleep and sometimes I feel like you're just not sleeping well. You're not sleeping like you used to when you were 20, right? I don't like that. I don't like that. So I was like, maybe because it's new having the milk at night. So maybe go back to water. And actually, since I've started the water, I've been sleeping a lot better. So maybe I'm just not really considering the milk food when it kind of is. So I guess I'll just have to drink that earlier in the day. So I'm down to water. It's okay. I need more water anyway. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Ghosty. Excuse me. I'm a multimedia artist. I make art across many different genres, including film, traditional art. I'm doing, what else am I doing? Books, video games, working on a clothing line. There's something else in there. There's a bunch. There's at least 6 that I'm working on. And this whole channel is really about me going from like a hermit-ish state, right? I'm saying ish, and I'm like in the house most of the time. And like living my best life, which is a much more international one, of which is my childhood dream, and I'm working diligently to do, right? To accomplish, right? I'm accomplishing it in real time. That's what this is all about. These rambles are kind of like the start of it. Usually I just ramble at night to empty my head before bed, and a lot of times it has to do with work because like that's my life. But also much of it, as I kind of listen back to some of the videos, a lot of it has to do with like fears and concerns, and maybe a little anxiety, right? Like you have anxieties about what the future is going to hold. And some of it's just me pumping myself up. Hopefully, some of that is somewhat entertaining to you. If it is, please give me a like or a subscribe or leave me a comment. Even if it isn't, just leave me a comment. Let me know. Yeah, because Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling on. I have no clue. Um, and I always say, oh, these are for me, but they're for you. But they are for me. They are for me. Part of it is just having a record of like what happened, what were you thinking, what were you feeling, what were you contending with or dealing with. Um, Another part of it is sometimes I consider the fact that I may take pieces of these videos and put them into other videos that I make in the future. Um, and the other portion of that is really I just need to get it out of my head. I've got to have some sort of brain dump. And while I do journal in the morning, I don't want to carry this extra stuff to bed if I don't have to. I'd like to sleep. So I talk about all sorts of stuff, including having a spicy mind, a spicy brain that, like, doesn't operate the way everybody else's brain does. And I talk about, I don't even know what I talk about, bro. I have no clue. I ramble. That's what this is. Today, other than some of that more basic stuff I just mentioned, I guess, I don't know. I have a couple of they're not conundrums, but they're things. I don't know about you, but every year when I start off the year, there's certain principles or concepts or ideas that kind of go with me throughout the year. And I spend a lot of time throughout the year contemplating them, right? Just really considering, what does this mean to me? How do I progress, right? Where is this taking me? So this year has begun with selfish, right? And a lot of times that term is used in a negative way, right? Or a derogatory way. People will say, oh, you're selfish, or you're self-centered, or you're this, that, and the other. And they mean that as a negative thing, right? Like, generally speaking, they typically don't. But I'm starting to contemplate the fact that really you should be more selfish. And I don't mean in the I don't mean in a negative sense. I mean that we live in a society that really pushes this concept of you being selfless, like you being altruistic. And I think that that's toxic. I think that it just creates resentment. I think it creates a society where you have a lot of, like, I call them checklist people. And what I mean by that is it's people who discern that in order for them to have the most comfort and, make the rest of the people happy so they don't have to contend with them being unhappy with them, right? They have a checklist of things to do. You see this a lot when it comes down to, like, marriage, right? And having children. People will marry people just to say that they're married, and they'll have children with them just to say that they're married with children. Not because they're in love with the person or love the person really, but because it's a item on a list of things that they've got to check off to appease other people, to appease their family or their society or something, or their company that they work for or whatever. It really has nothing to do with the other person, even though they may go through the motions of feeling that or acting out like that expression, but it was about the checklist. It was about making sure they checked off that item on their list of things to do so that, they don't have any whatever issues, right? And personally, I'm starting to wonder, I'm starting to think, I'm starting to feel like that goes back to this notion of being selfless, um and it's selfless in a toxic way, right? Like it's really like the wrong kind of selfless. And so this year I'm thinking I need to be a little more selfish, right? um Not that I was ever a checklist person. I don't like that. I have bucked that since I was a little thing. I've pushed back against that since I was a little thing. It has caused me it has cost me many nights of tears, screaming back and forth, fighting with parents and family members, being seen a certain way, and all sorts of other drama. But at the end of the day, I can sit here and say, well, I chose my life for myself, and I can only look back at me when it comes down to it. I could look at myself in the mirror and know that I chose what I'm living in. And I would rather live a life knowing that I chose being like a bum than live a life where like my parents chose for me to be a social worker, right? Um, and for a lot of, I'm not going to say a lot. I can't say a lot. I really don't know. For some people, excuse me, for some people that sounds crazy, right? That sounds counterintuitive. Like they're really kind of, because for some people they may say, oh, well, your parents, they made all these sacrifices, this, that, and the other, and you owe your family, and so on and so forth. You, depending on what culture you come from, right? There's a belief and an understanding. But I'm of the opinion that, first of all, I would never do that to my child. Like, I brought you here. If I wanted someone to be a lawyer, then I would have just gone out and I'll go out and be a lawyer, right? I'm not going to levy my dreams on you like that. I have hopes that you will be happy. I have hopes that you will enjoy your life. I have hopes that, um, your life is, you become the things that you want to become. And I will help you endeavor, right? As a parent, I would want to help my child endeavor towards those dreams and aspirations and goals, right? But I would never want to force my child to be something that I think that they should be. I may have birthed the offspring, right? But I don't own the offspring. It's not a handbag, it's not property, right? Like it's another human being, and the other human being has hopes, dreams, wishes, wants, needs, and goals. That's just my belief and my opinion. Some people don't feel that way. You have whole societies centered around people not feeling that way. But I digress. That's how they perceive life, and they're entitled to it. It's just not how I do. And so my goal is to, as an artist, go ahead and strip away more of the checklist mentality, which really comes from a people pleasing place, right? You're trying to people please, you're trying to make everyone else happy, and you're not following your own flow, clock, settings that you were given. If you are a religious or spiritual person, then you're not following what like God had intended for you to follow. You're not going on the adventure you were sent here to go on, right? You're going on somebody else's adventure. And to me, I feel like that's a sin. So in any case, I got lots of different beliefs, and I'm sure everybody doesn't necessarily understand or see how that comes together. But it's coming together quite clearly for me in my mind that the people pleasing is toxic to creation. It's toxic to creativity. It renders people unable to fulfill their adventure or agenda. And that's not to say that you won't fulfill your life's purpose, or I'm not suggesting that. Everybody develops at their own rate, speed, and time, and your adventure is your adventure for you. And how you develop in, this adventure may be different than how you develop in another adventure, and the pacing of that is per person. It is not, a writ large thing, which I think is another thing that we tend to assume that everybody has to be the same, and I think that's also weird. It's very weird. Anyway, furthering this ramble. So now it's up to me to determine, okay, where, how, and when. How do I go about stripping the people pleasing? Where is it that I'm expressing that in my personality that we've dedicated a year to it? And then and actually I can stop there, and I can even answer that question. Okay, I'm here, right? I'm here instead of doing the things that I had decided as a child I would do. And while this may be part of the adventure and journey, and it is an important part, you do need to go through the part to get to the other part. And that means you need to let some stuff go, right? And you need to be open to receiving new stuff, new energy. Let old energy go, let in new energy. Right? Because everything here gives and takes, right? So what do I need to let go of? I think part of it has to do with a certain amount of control, in a weird control, in a weird way. Not in a standard way of like, oh, I want to have control over you and what you're doing. Not like that, but more like trying to control too much of like what happens, right? Instead of allowing the adventure. When I was a younger woman, right? Still a young woman. When I was a younger woman, like 20s, early 20s, right? And I would pivot, right? Part of the pivot, a decent part of the pivot, was being open to what that adventure entailed. And it's not that, there's some things that I'm not willing to do, right? There's some things that I've got lined up in my mind that I'm like, nope, not doing that this lifetime. I just really just don't, that's not something I feel like doing. I don't want that experience, right? But for the most part, I would say, like, I want to do this thing, right? And then I'd allow that thing to become or happen. But I'm going to say since college, right? College is very much hustle culture. It's very much you have to hustle to graduate, to finish, to complete. And that's important for teaching a certain class how to be that class, right? If we're talking about socioeconomics, right? You don't want your middle class, to perceive life the way your upper class does, because then they may graduate from that middle class into the upper class. And the upper class prefers to be exclusive, which I don't know why that's necessary, but okay. You know what? They're entitled to have their wants or desires. They're not entitled to enforce them on everyone else, though. That being said, college is very much hustle culture, and very much the toxic end, the really toxic end of hustle culture, and trying to survive and trying to not waste this money or the dreams of the family or any of the other people who may be tied to or associated to you getting this degree, whether it be the job, like I said, the family, the whomever, whatever. And since then, it's been, I don't believe that you forget, but I'm going to say it's been locked away. Now, there's value in the hustle culture and the hustle, right? There are things that I think there's value in there's something you can get out of everything, right? There's value in everything. Whether you are able to perceive what that value is or not, it exists. You just may not see it, right? There's something to be had, right, out of that culture. But I want to give back the other stuff, like the toxic other stuff that I learned a little too well because now I'm here, right? And some of that was, again, you're trying to police or control things that really you're doing too much. You're just doing too much. That's the best way I can describe it at this hour of night. I'm tired. You're doing too much. You're trying to control something that the universe doesn't need you to control, okay? All you had to do, all right, was to put the 20% in. The rest of the 80%, the universe is going to like make that happen for you, right? That's not whatever I can't stand it when people say that woo woo. That's not woo woo or some weird. It's just a general principle, just like gravity and the other laws and principles we got out here. It's just a general principle of how things work, right? If you let go, my folks would say let go and let God, right? But I didn't perceive that I wasn't letting God, if that makes sense. Like when I was doing it, I thought, oh, okay, and this is what, and what I was doing, I was kind of being a helicopter mom about it, right? Like I'm policing it. Like I'm over here, oh, it has to be like this and it has to be like that and it's got to be done like this and this has to be this for this to happen. You don't need all that. You just have to have a desire. And when those little instances pop up and you're like, oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do that. Just go for the instance. Even if the instance doesn't make sense for you to go for. Even if the instance seems like, yo, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you think. Nobody asked you that. Just go for it. Go for the instance. And I'll give you a great example. Right? I was doing this program online for people working their way into film. And because I was like, I need to get onto a commercial set. I want to get onto a pro set, right? I was doing indie before that, and it was slim pickings. I hadn't found my crew. I hadn't found my people yet. So I was like, okay, if I go pro, I might be able to find some people, and then we can create our own thing from there, right? That was my game plan. So I joined this program because I'm thinking, okay, there's all these other people who are starting out, and they're just starting out. So, easy space to find people who might want to go the heights with you. And one of the challenges was, go out to a casting, what is that, agency, right? And sign up, right? For like background actor or something like that. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, I'm a little pudgy and I'm a bit brown. I don't know that they want, I don't necessarily see a ton of like me. And I don't see a ton of, and I'm thinking this in the back of my head. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know, you know, but, I know something in me knows that I got to take this leap. Whatever it is, you know, I really should just go and do it. Like, it wouldn't hurt, right? It wouldn't hurt. Just take the leap. I mean, even though it doesn't seem like it will, it wouldn't hurt. Just go for it, right? This is what I'm thinking. To the point where I'm saying to my mom, I want to, I know I should do it, but I don't think so. I'm not going to do it. It's a waste of my time. I got to spend all that money to get there, and I got to do this, and then they're not going to accept, and my mom's looking at me. My mom's listening. She's like, just go. Just go. Just do the thing. Just do it. What is it going to hurt you to do it, right? Like, just do the thing. And I went and I did it, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I already knew. And it was kind of as trash of an experience as I envisioned it. That's partly my fault because that's what I spoke on it to start with, but we're going to set that aside. The point is, I'm thinking, I did all this and what am I going to get out of it? I probably wasted my time. Well, I met this other chick and she was actually doing the program too. And she's like, oh, you're in the program. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the program. I'm just trying to get started. And she's like, oh, that's really cool. Well, I got on this one gig and, if you want to come, it's a low paid gig, it's only paying like 100 for the day. But, it's a starting place. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. So now I've signed first job, but the first job launched years of work. Just that meeting. And if I hadn't gone, I wouldn't have met her. I would not have had that career like that. So that's what I'm saying. You can't police it. You can't sit there and be like, oh, it's not gonna, it's this, I don't know, I should put it, it should be this and it should show up this way and it should be, stop trying to decide what it should be and shouldn't be, right? You said you wanted XYZ, right? That's the adventure. So you're signing up for that adventure. Go on that adventure. Don't throw stuff on it. Don't sit there and say it has to look like this, it has to be like that, it has to do these things. No. Get up one day and be like, I want to buy a house. And see what happens. Just see what happens. Pick something else. Get up one day and be like, I want to get married. Then see what happens. Just see what happens. You never know. Find something else. I want a new career. I want to be a chef. See what happens. These little instances will pop up. And next thing you know, you'll be doing the thing you were dreaming of doing. And so I'm circling back, I'm refiguring out. I've unlocked the lockbox, the hard drive with all the storage, and I'm discerning, oh, that's what I did. Because somehow after college, I forgot how to live. I just knew how to work and survive. And survival will hinder you. Survival will keep you stuck in a place. Survival will keep you people pleasing when you take that stance. When you tell the universe that that's what you want to do, is survive, then that's what you get. You get exactly what you ask for every time. Every time. It'll be things that you didn't, Like, I didn't think I asked for. Oh, you didn't think you did, but bro, you decided it had to be harder than it needed to be, right? You know, the universe didn't decide it had to be harder then. If you're adding stuff onto your plate, that's you adding it onto the plate. That's not the universe adding it onto the plate, right? So I say all that to say, I was adding extra stuff on my plate and making things hard and complicated that really aren't hard and complicated. Because I was trying to check a list off. I was trying to hustle. Instead of just pivoting onto the adventure like I wanted to. Like I already knew how to do. Like I had been doing since the beginning and had so many adventures, lived so many lives in one lifetime. That's my ramble. I love you guys. Good night. I will see you tomorrow, probably around the same time. Like I said, these are dailies. I usually like to post. Oh my gosh, I almost thought that said 2 a.m. I usually like to post between 11 and 12. I've been posting them a tad bit earlier than usual, but yeah, I'll keep this up. I'll keep it up. Dailies. Thank you for sitting with me and discerning and figuring it out and listening to me ramble. If you got this far, seriously, please give me a subscribe. And you tell me, have you ever done the checklist thing? Because I'm realizing I've been doing a checklist thing and I despise the checklist. Let me know.